Hi guys, what's up? I hope everybody is doing good. And in the previous video, we have seen the EISSM paper. So now I thought I'll discuss the audit paper. It's been quite some time the exam has happened. So let's discuss the audit paper. It's also looking very simple paper. But only thing is many people wouldn't have been able to execute it well if you have not prepared how to write and go. I have always been suggesting that you see past exam papers, practice more of presentational aspects and go, and otherwise content wise this paper is a very simple paper. So let's get to the true or false part. First of all, starts with the first and very simple question from automated environment. In an automated environment, the relationship between application controls and general IT controls are not interrelated. There's a line in the book that straight says that they both are interrelated. In fact, for IT system and specific controls, general controls provide the platform. So that statement is false. The second question they asked is about historical financial information relates to information based on assumptions about occurrence of future events. How can historical information be about future? So what they are talking about, future and possible actions by entities, projected information. This one right here is historical. They gave, so the answer is false. Then the auditor shall assemble audit documentation and complete administrative process before the date of audit report. No, you have 60 days time to do that. So that is also false. Where a firm is appointed as an auditor of a company, the report is signed only in the personal name of the partner signing the report. It's like a gifting of 2 marks. You know that it has to be signed in the name of the firm as well and not only in their personal name. So firm is appointed, that was the question, and it's clearly given in the section or the provision that it says that not only it has to be signed by the individual but also it should be signed on the firm name. For XYZ and Co chartered accountants with firm registration number, then the name of the partner's designation and the membership number has to be quoted. So the statement is false. This is straight out of SA 520 on analytical procedures. It's a question that defines what analytical procedures are. So I think you should get your full marks there. The term analytical procedures means evaluation of financial information through an analysis of the plausible relationship among financial and non-financial data, which is absolutely what the definition of analytical procedures are. A company should disclose in its annual report shareholding pattern. I think all of you know that that is 5%, not 10%. So that one is false. As per standard number 240, which is a standard on fraud, the primary responsibility of an auditor is to detect fraud and error. I 100 times have emphasized this. Primary responsibility of the auditor will be to give an opinion, not to indicate or find out fraud. Then the last question is about Mr. T, the director, has purchased an old car belonging to the company against an equipment. So the auditor is not required to include this in CARO. I think it is wrong because non-cash transactions with directors are supposed to be reported as per CARO. So that statement is also false. I hope all of you wrote 7 out of these 8 correctly, and I wish you secure 14 out of 14 because this is one such area that I repeatedly emphasize on getting the full marks. Moving on to question number 2, keeping it very simple. The question is from section 54, sweat equity shares. So they're talking about chartered accountants are appointed as auditors of ABC Limited, and the engagement partner has come across the following while verifying share capital of the company. He noticed that some equity shares are held by promoters. Okay, no problem. Equity shares generally held by promoters. Some shares are issued as sweat equity shares to employees. Okay, what is the meaning of security shares? I think you should write the definition. Those equity shares that are given to employees or directors at a discount or for consideration other than cash for providing technical know-how or making available rights that they can use. So they have done some great contribution to the company. In exchange of that, you are giving them shares. That is called equity shares, section 54. But what are the disclosure requirements of promoter shareholding? Right here I put up the table already so that we don't have to waste time on the video. So serial number, promoter's name, number of shares held, what is the percentage of total, and any change when compared to the last. That this table is also very much given. So if you mention it like this, it is enough. Now if you didn't study disclosure requirements and go, you're going to pay a price because I've repeatedly emphasized. And lastly, the revision videos also I told, read schedule 3, run through schedule 3 before going to audit exam. Okay, The next bit is a straight question. I think everybody should have got it the moment you saw. They are changing the terms of an audit engagement and they are requesting you to change as an auditor. Of course, the auditor can agree to the changes in terms of audit engagement. Under what circumstances is a paragraph that is straight out of 210. Change in TOE. So those of you who have your book in the first chapter, you can go and see standard number 210, where there are changes in the terms of engagement. A paragraph itself is titled like that. If you write those 4 points, you'll get your 4 marks. What are the matters that auditor should consider while doing an audit sample? This is what constitutes to misstatement and deviation. You have to understand those two and write the 5 points that are there for sample design. So what constitutes to misstatement and deviation? What is the population? And in accordingly choosing those items from the population which are their two representatives. So 5 points are there and a heading also is there, clearly sample design. So no twisting and turning, straight question. Access security and its objectives is again a straight question from chapter 6. If you have my material, you can refer to page 6.6. You will find the answer. So none of the 4 bits are very difficult that you can't answer. They are all straight from the book. So second question for 14 marks is also damn simple, along with the true or false. Let's talk about the third question right now. Yeah, I think all of you should have studied audit evidence and gone, because who leaves audit evidence and goes to an audit exam? So audit evidence being one of the most critical things, they are asking you how, name the types of audit procedures that the auditor will perform to obtain audit evidence: inspection, observation, inquiry and confirmation, reperformance, recalculation, analytical procedures and external confirmation. Solid way to secure 4 marks. Alright, then this one B is an answer that you have to build up. They are asking you, they are analyzing monthly trends for expenses like rent, water, fuel and all that, and also verifying attributes to that expenses. List down the attributes. What all will you check? So basically here they're talking about expenses and what all will you check. What the attributes when you are checking expenses. Here you should talk about its completeness, accuracy, validity. So basically what all will you check about that expenses? Whether the expenses were incurred within the limits, whether the expenditure was authorized. So authorization. Basically they're asking you to list down the assertions or attributes of such expenses. Then moving on, this is a question again which they are asking straight out of audit of debtors from chapter number 9, which is an audit of items of financial statement. Trade receivables. How will you check the trade receivables? I think we have to start explaining what are trade receivables to explain all the points till external confirmation. Do you remember that answer? So who are debtors? Like where are they recorded? And if debtors have defaulted, then how do you treat that? Then standard number 505 talks about taking external confirmation from debtors. So how will you achieve your objective about verifying accounts receivable? It's a question that you can easily answer. And this is a point which again is there in chapter 9. If you can see some towards the end of it, if you can see in institute material, few additions have been given about how to represent a virtual currency. 4 points are there. Okay, if you can refer to ICA module chapter number 9 and additions to that, 4 points are given under virtual currency. So you have to write those 4 points what are supposed to be presented, nothing more than that. So again, maybe this is one such question. If you think there is too much of writing in this, I think many of you should have left this in choice. If you have written this, it's amazing, because if you know what to write, this is a scoring answer, because none of them are difficult, but only thing it's a lot of theory to score marks. Okay, then they have asked a lot of questions on internal control this time. Okay, the first of which is asking you a question straight from essay 315. Okay, here they are asking you what is the definition of control environment and what will the auditor evaluate in order to obtain the understanding of the control environment. So this one is a question that comes up in 315 in an extension to that. Control environment has 3 points. This one here is 3 points. And then you have to write about 7 points where you are going to obtain an understanding of the control. So 4 marks for that. And if you have studied and gone, this seems to be a thing here. 299 is responsibility of joint auditors, and I've emphasized many times that it's a very important standard. So many times questions have been asked. So they they appointed 3 chartered accountant firms. What are the responsibilities joint? They didn't even twist turn whose responsibility is what, who will be responsible in this case and all. They didn't ask. For which work joint auditors will be jointly and severally responsible. There is one paragraph in standard number 299 for areas that are common areas, for disclosures that are given, for the audit report to be given within time, for planning and performance of the audit. All of them are jointly and severally liable. For the opinion on which all of them agree, they are jointly and severally liable. If anybody does not agree, they have to give a separate report. All these points are to be written. It's a very easy question from my perspective. If you read 299 and go, if you have not read, I don't know what. And again a question from 315. 315 is one hell of a standard, but this time they really tested the whole story out of it. Definition of internal control, 3 P's: plans, policies, procedures, and all of which I've covered in revision videos. So that is exactly why many of them after the audit exam they came back on the revision videos and commented this was helpful, that was helpful. When I saw the question paper, then I understood, because these are generally topics students ignore and go. We did a lot of study there. So state the benefits of internal control, 3 marks, 3 benefits, very straight and simple point. And as per essay 520, write some of the examples of analytical procedures which have consideration of relationship. There are lots of examples that you can write for consideration of analytical procedures, ranging from debtors, sales, using, there are, I mean, you can give so many number of examples, starting with sales being the easy one. So what are the examples of analytical procedures having consideration of relationships? You can even talk about direct trend to that relationship. You can even talk about reasonableness verification. So trend analysis, ratio analysis, reasonable verification. You can quote so many of those which are used in different areas, and that is what you're supposed to do in 4D. You have to quote the examples of application procedures. I think somebody texted me right after the exam about this, asking what should we write for this. So you might want to write what ways of analytical procedures you're supposed to do. 5A is an offbeat question, not generally something that is asked, but questions are coming from 710. Once a couple of attempts back also a question came. So what are they asking you is auditor's responsibility for comparative financial statements, where your paragraph, I mean like the introductory paragraph, the audit report should include more than one financial year, and where you're auditing comparative financial statements. You know, there is one point in this which says that predecessor auditor report, whatever he gave. So here they are asking that only. Previous year auditor gave qualified opinion. What will be the reporting responsibility of the current year auditor? If the net effect of the misstatement continues even in the current year financial statements, you will modify the current year. But if that has been rectified subsequently, you can go ahead and give a clean report. So when you form an opinion, you have to see the net effect of the opinion that was given. So if you read 710, the responsibility for corresponding figures and comparative financial statement, you would be able to answer this question. And of course, in my opinion, 5B is the most easiest question, because it's qualification and disqualification, which everybody will study and go for an audit exam. Mr. R is in a whole-time employment, so is disqualified. 40 public companies already they've taken up the audit. They're offered one more audit of a public company. So basically, it doesn't matter what they gave in the question. First thing, you have to explain the provisions that are related to number of audits. Each can take 20, right? So, and somebody who's in whole-time employment, he cannot be considered for the audit. So basically, you got to write the provisions there, and then they are taking up audits, and they also gave in personal capacity, they don't hold anywhere anything else. So, what is this RAP and company doing, and can they accept the audit? So you write qualification, disqualification, then you can say whether they are supposed to accept or not. Purpose of audit documentation, 6 plus 2, 8 purposes are there for audit documentation. It's a straight 3 marks, easy. That, it is useful for future references. It is useful for the defense for the auditor. I think you can easily write the 6 points, and then for any other quality audits that are being done, and for other things, there are very easy points that you can write. You notice a misstatement from fraud or suspected fraud, and you're not possible to continue. Okay, this is the last paragraph of standard number 240, which talks about something here. So where you are unable to continue the audit, you might want to give the reason and say that we will not continue. So you can go and refer to the last paragraph. I'll do one thing. Obviously, I will leave this question paper with the whatever I marked in the description, so that if you want, you can go and cross check in your books. This one is 240 last para. I've indicated standards. I didn't find the time to kind of sit and compile the kind of suggested answers that I did for EIS, because this will take time, and right now it's just about going and matching it, so you guys can do that. I'll leave this particular thing, whatever has been shown on screen, in the description, so if you want, you can go through it. Fully convertible debentures, of course, what are the reporting requirements under CARO 2020? For company utilize these funds for repayment of long term. Okay, so they raised money for diversification of business, and then they repaid a loan. So obviously company did something that they should not do. And the reporting requirements, when you raise money, whether that has been used for stated purpose or not, it is not used, so auditor has to report in negative. Or they are asking you that there is a cinema hall, and they are asking you about the internal control mechanism in the cinema hall based on show of tickets and all that. The audit team started the audit and verified the ledger and other books accounts. However, one of the team members is of the view that internal control of the company should also be verified. So can you guide the team about areas that will be covered in verifying internal control? Under audit of a cinema, internal control verification, one paragraph will be there. You just have to write that. So this comes from chapter number 13, wherein audit of a cinema hall, you can check that. NPA provisioning, you guys have done this in advanced accounting. You don't have to really worry about that. It's a question from chapter 12, audit of banks. The management is concerned with correct provision of the same. So CAR is appointed to check whether correct provisioning of NPA is being made by the bank. What are the aspects to be verified? So audit of NPAs. After the provisioning norms, you don't have to write the rates and all that. If you wrote also, it's not a problem. At what provisioning rates, prudential norms of the RBI, you wrote that, it's okay. But after that, you have to say that the auditors to check all these aspects. What are to be checked in NPA? They're asking you to write that. So NPA's definition and whether it matches the criteria and other points. Audit of NPAs, a small paragraph is there in chapter 12. You can run through that. Okay, local bodies, municipality. Define the term municipality and audit of local bodies. We can go to refer to this topic in chapter number 13. So which is special audits. In chapter number 13, you can find audit of local bodies, chapter 13. And in the very same chapter, LLP audit, what books are supposed to be maintained. First of all, you have to write the criteria. If the capital exceeds 25 lakhs and turnover exceeds 40 lakhs, then only books are supposed to be maintained by LLP. If books are supposed to be maintained, these are the books that LLP has to maintain. Okay, so fairly easy paper, guys. In less than 20 minutes, you should be able to discuss this. Okay, I think we are around about 18 minutes now into this. So it's a plain discussion. I thought I should give you insight about all the answers are from the book only. Nothing is really complicated. So I hope all of you have written well, and don't panic if something doesn't match with what the answers I told and what you wrote and all. Don't panic. Don't think much. This is just for suggested purposes. And if you really feel that things have not gone well, and with this or with the AS, it's better that you start preparing. Don't wait for results. Some of you know it. And there is no shame in admitting that we have to start studying and don't wait for the results. Those of you who are confident about what you did, good for you. I wish all of you get great marks and all of you get exemption in this sort of a paper. And of course, I'm wishing that everybody gets 70 plus in the EISSM paper as well. So it was nice catching up with you guys, and this is the inside of the audit paper. I will see you in my next video with some information about what is the new syllabus that is coming and what is expected, because let me gather more information, then I will get on a video with that and meet you guys very soon. Till then, have great time. Now you're enjoying holidays, put some productive time to use, and don't end up wasting all the time. So I'll see you in my next video, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.